So it's 2026 and you have the same goals and dreams that you had last year. It's probably your New Year's resolution again, right? Now, why is this happening? It's happening because you lack discipline and consistency. So in this video, what I want to talk to you about is how to build discipline and consistency so this year you can finally realize that goal or dream. What's up, it's Gene, this word to be great. A lot of us guilty of this. We start every year the same way. We're very excited. We're motivated. But the truth is this: motivation will not last you. You will start out with this motivational high. You'll go to the gym. You'll start the goal. You'll start the dream. But in several weeks, what's going to happen? You're going to give it up and you're going to tell yourself, next year I will be successful. Well, it's enough of that. It's time to stop giving up this year for next year. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to use principles from my book, Worded to be Great. Now, I wrote this book, Word to be Great, How to Build Self-Discipline, Achieve Your Greatness, to help people like you that are stuck in a funk. You've been telling yourself every year you're going to do something and you don't get it done. So I'm going to give you 5 principles from my book that will help you to build the discipline and the consistency to realize your dream. Now, the first principle is get off the merry-go-round of excuses. When I was in elementary school, when I was about, 8 or 9 years old, I had this teacher named Miss Jones. Now, Miss Jones was very tall. She was over 6 feet tall. She was extremely strict. When she was walking us to the cafeteria, she said, listen, everybody, I want you all to go through the line quietly, and whoever finished their food first will be the first person to line up to go to recess. Now, this particular day, we had green beans, ice cream, and cake and milk or something like that. I can't remember, but we had these things and we was all sitting at the table. And as I was looking at my green beans, ice cream, and cake and milk, and I was scarfing it down, I was thinking to myself, wow, I'm gonna hurry up and finish eating so I can be the first one in line. So that's what I did. I was eating everything, right? I was eating all my food. And once I was finished, I raised my hand. I say, Miss Jones, I'm finished. She said, okay, Gene, go into the back of the cafeteria, line up, and wait for everybody else to get done. And once all my classmates was finished with their lunch, she pointed at me. She said, Gene, go out the back to the playground and you all have 30 minutes of recess. So I pushed the door open. We all started running to the playground and we headed in the same direction. And that was to this red silver merry-go-round. So I was the first one to jump on the merry-go-round. Now only 10 of us could get on it. So none of my other classmates jumped on the merry-go-round. And the other 10, I started yelling at them saying, come on, slow pokes, push us right now. Start pushing the merry-go-round. Y'all so slow, that's why y'all have to push us first. So as I was teasing them, they started pushing us on this merry-go-round, right? And they were pushing us slow and slowly and slowly. And I was getting frustrated. So I said again, y'all need to push this merry-go-round. And I kept taunting them. And what do you think they did? They started pushing us faster and faster and faster. And some of my classmates jumped off. They pushed us faster and faster and faster. Now at this point, I was the only one on the merry-go-round. They pushed me faster and faster and faster. And then it happened. My pizza, green beans, and chocolate cake, I threw up on my shirt, pants, and shoes. Now at that very moment, I decided to jump off that merry-go-round because I was disgusted. You see, before that, I was asking my classmates to stop the merry-go-round. I was asking them to slow it down. I was asking them to let me off. I had all these excuses on why I couldn't get off the merry-go-round myself. But it wasn't until I got disgusted that I jumped off. You see, a lot of us, we are stuck on the merry-go-round of excuses. We found ourselves in a situation where we keep making excuses about our circumstances. We wait for other people to change things for us. We wait for the circumstance itself to change. But what we have to understand that if we want to realize our goal or dream, we have to make up our mind that we're disgusted about our situation and jump off that merry-go-round of excuses. Because as long as you're on that merry-go-round, you're making excuses about your childhood. You're making excuses about the way somebody's treating you, and you're waiting for somebody else to make things happen in your life, you're going to continue to not live the goal, not live the dream. You will keep making the excuses that are keeping you in one spot, and until you jump off, you're not going to make progress. So if you want to start building discipline and consistency in your life, the first thing I want to encourage you to do is jump off the merry-go-round of excuses.
Word one,
Are you tired of feeling stuck, lost, and unfulfilled? And you ready to start taking responsibility for achieving your greatness so you can take control of your life? Click the link below and get my premium ebook, Worthy to Be Great, that is filled with the practical principles that allow me to transform from a 9-to-5 cubicle slave to a disciplined man, consistently building my dream. And I promise you, they can help you do the same. With the premium ebook, you will get 2 bonus programs. My 22 video program, How to Build Self-Discipline to Achieve Your Greatness, as well as my 30 Days of Self-Discipline program. Both are filled with self-assessment worksheets and activities that will help you hold yourself accountable as you build the life you want. If you're serious about taking control of your life, get the Word to Be Great premium ebook. If you act today, I'm also going to throw in the audio book, and you will get all this value for the limited low price. 2, stop limiting yourself because you're diminishing yourself. When I was in high school, I got a great opportunity to represent the entire school in a writing competition. Now, my counselor came up to me. She said, Gene, I want you to go because all the teachers said, despite your conduct, you're one of the best creative writers in the school. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know I wrote that well. I said, okay, so what would I have to do? She said, listen, we're going to send you to this university for a day and you do the writing competition. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't care nothing about that writing competition, but I liked the fact that I was going to miss a day out of school. So I agreed to it. So on the day of the writing competition, it was myself and some other classmates I had. Some did persuasive writing, some did technical writing. I was going to do the creative writing. We get to this university and this lady walks up to us with blonde hair, blue eyes, and she said, hey, I'm here to take you guys to your respective writing competitions. So as we was walking down the university hallway, she took some to the persuasive competition, some to the technical writing competition. Then she looked at me, which I was the last person. She said, we're going to the creative writing competition. So we go to this room and it's these gigantic doors, and we walked inside and it's this professor. He's probably about in his mid-30s. He looked at me and said, hey, are you here for the creative writing competition? I said, yes. Now, there were a lot of guys in there, all teenage guys, and majority of them, all of them pretty much, they were white. I was the only black guy. So they all had on suits. Some of them had on shirts and ties. Some of them had on khakis and ties and shirts. They was all looking good. And I was the only one wearing my school uniform. So right before the competition started, the professor said to us, he said, listen, you guys can go outside and, take a walk, get your thoughts together, get ready for the competition. And when you come back in the building, we'll start the competition. So as we was outside on this patio area, one of the guys walked up to me. He had red hair. He had freckles on his face. He looked at me. He said, hey, man, what's your name? I said, I'm Gene. He said, hey, nice to meet you, Gene. What made you want to decide to get in this creative writing competition? I say, to be honest with you, I really don't want to be here. My school sent me here. It's an opportunity for me to miss a day of school. He said, well, the reason I'm here is because my dad is a writer. He wants me to be a writer just like him. Now, I was a kid growing up without a father, and I had this belief in my mind that anytime I was around people with fathers, that made me less of a person. I was less than them. I didn't have the same confidence as them. I wasn't as worthy as them. So by knowing that this kid had a father and I didn't, I already started diminishing myself in my mind. I was telling myself I wasn't worthy of this competition. I didn't deserve to be there. And when we went back upstairs and started doing the competition itself, I kept thinking about the fact that this kid had a father at home. And I started thinking that the other kids there also had fathers as well. So you know what I did when the competition started? Absolutely nothing. I wrote nothing on my paper because I felt inferior. When I went back to my school, my counselor came up to me and she said, Gene, I found out that you didn't even write anything on that piece of paper at the competition. What happened? And I looked at her, I said, I'll be honest, I felt inferior. I felt like I couldn't compete with these guys. They had daddies at home. They had more support than me. And I was going through this long story of excuses. And my counselor looked at me and she said, Gene, don't limit yourself because you'll diminish yourself in life. And that's what you did today. You limited yourself to the point you diminished yourself. You had all the potential in the world to win that competition, but now you'll never know because you allow your thinking to diminish you. And see, if you have a goal and a dream you're trying to accomplish and you're limiting yourself in your mind, you're diminishing yourself. If you're telling yourself, I'm not disciplined, if you're telling yourself, I can't be consistent, when you start going after the goal and dream in 2026 and you hit a setback or you feel a lack of motivation, because you have diminishing yourself so much in your mind, you will limit yourself and therefore you will not be able to build the discipline and the consistency to move forward. So you have to realize that discipline or self-discipline is doing the productive things you say you're going to do despite how you feel that's going to lead to your desired success. And you cannot get to the point you can be the discipline if you have negative thinking that is limiting you and you telling yourself every day you don't have what it takes to keep moving forward. So the second thing I want to encourage you to do is listen to your mind, the thoughts in your head, and ask yourself, am I allowing my thoughts to limit myself to the point I'm diminishing myself? Because if you are, I want to move to the third principle, which is auto-suggest yourself into a worthy to be great mindset. So what is a word to be great mindset? Well, as I explained in my book, Worthy to be Great, a worthy to be great mindset is the belief that you believe that you're worthy of achieving the great vision inside of you, no matter what that is. Maybe you have a great vision of being a doctor, a lawyer, an athlete, a teacher, whatever it is. In order for that to happen, you must have a worthy to be great mindset. And the way you develop that is through a technique called auto-suggestion. Now, auto-suggestion is only self-talk. It's what you tell yourself every day. And the best way to start training your mind or your subconscious mind is through auto-suggestion. It's the things you tell yourself. Just like you can tell yourself negative things like I did in that writing competition, that I wasn't worthy because I didn't have a daddy. You see, what I was doing is I trained my subconscious mind to think negative, to see myself as not valuable. So therefore, I was diminishing myself. You can use that same technique to empower yourself with positive affirmations. Now, I remember when I was actually trying to, I want to tell y'all something. I got to remember. Oh, I remember when I started college, right? I went to college, and my freshman year, I was in one of the first classes, and it was in this auditorium. Now, everybody in there was, and obviously they came from different backgrounds to me. I see it was a lot of kids from the suburbs. I was from the hood. I spoke a lot of slang, and it really started to dawn on me when the professor was up there saying, hey, if you want to be successful in college, you cannot procrastinate. And he kept saying this over and over again. And the more he said that, the more confused I was. But when I looked around the auditorium, I could tell that the other students knew what he was talking about. So I learned a long time ago that no question is a dumb question. If you don't understand something, raise your hand and ask. So I raised my hand and I said, sir, is procrastination a word? What does that mean? And all the other students started laughing at me. And he looked at me, he said, procrastination means not putting things off. Now, I remember when I walked out of that first class, I felt small. I felt unworthy. I felt undeserving. I called my mom and told her I wanted to drop out of college because I thought I was stupid. I wasn't smart. I wasn't going to be successful. But my mama said what mamas always say. She said, Junior, you're the first in our family to go to college. Go ahead and stay in there. Trust in God. Just give it a year and see how you do. You'll be the first in the family to graduate if you do. And I took that as a challenge. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to stay in here. I'm going to work on myself. And what I decided to do is go to the library. Now, when I went to the library, they was having this sale on personal development books. Now, at that point, I had never heard of personal development, but they had books for 25 cents. I bought a book called The Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale and these other really, positive books, right? And as I was reading through these books, they kept talking about affirmations, creating the affirmations, saying things positive to yourself over and over again that will help you to eliminate those negative thoughts. So that's what I started doing. I said, you know what? I'm going to create an affirmation, because at that point in my life, I had been telling myself, my daddy left when I was a kid. I'm not going to be successful, and I had all these negative thoughts that was in my mind that was all going back to me not having a daddy. So I came up with this affirmation. The affirmation went like this. I was raised in a single parent home because my daddy left when I was 11 years old. We was poor, but I didn't let welfare define me or confine me to poverty. Instead, it inspired me. And that's why I stand with confidence today. And I used to say this affirmation over and over again. I had it written and I had it taped on my wall. I was living in a bunk bed with a roommate. So at the top of the bunk bed, I had it taped up there. And I would say this to myself over and over again. So you know what ended up happening? As I kept using affirmation over my 4 years of college, I developed a worthy to be great mindset. I started to see myself as being worthy of being a great college student. I was going to class. I was passing my classes. I was making the dean list. And it all happened because I decided to auto-suggest myself into a worthy to be great mindset. And you can do the same thing, whatever it is you want to accomplish. If you want to be a great doctor, you're worthy to be a great doctor. If you want to be a great teacher, you're worthy to be a great teacher. I want to encourage you to come up with an affirmation that's going to allow you to auto-suggest yourself into a worthy to be great mindset. You have to talk to yourself with positive affirmations. You have to talk to yourself so you can develop a positive belief that you have everything inside of you to succeed. And when you have that worthy to be great mindset, what you'll discover is that you will slowly start taking actions that's going to move you to achieving your goals and dreams, because you would have start building the discipline and the consistency that will allow you to be successful. Now, the fourth principle is focus concentration is the key to eliminating distractions. Now, let's be real. Have you ever started going after a dream or something and you find yourself getting distracted with this, you getting distracted with that, somebody pulling you towards their agenda, and you just give up on the dream? See, that's what happened to a guy that I talk about in my book, Word to Be Great. He really wanted to get his GED. But the problem was every time he tried to focus on getting his GED, he got distracted. He found himself doom scrolling on his phone. He got distracted by family and friends. And because of that, it had been 4 years and he still hadn't even passed one test in getting his GED. So I was coaching him in my Word to Be Great self-discipline coaching program, and we was having a discussion. I said, why are you not able to get your GED? And he told me all the reasons. He kept getting distracted. So I said, okay, now let's have a conversation about distractions, right? And as we was having the conversation, he revealed to me that he had listened to, I think, 142,000 minutes of music. So I said to him, I said, wow, that's a lot of music. He said, yeah, man, this music platform gave me a reward for listening to 142,000 minutes of music. And I asked him, I say, man, and I might get my numbers wrong right now, but in my book, Word to Be Great, it's all right. I asked him, I said, do you know how many hours you have to get a college degree? He said, no. I said, it's like 120 hours. He said, really? I said, do you know the amount of minutes you listen to is equivalent to you getting like 19 college degrees? He said, are you serious? I said, yes. So you're not distracted when you listen to music, but you only get distracted when you're going after your GED. And the reason is because you are lacking focused concentration. So what is focused concentration? It is when you focus on a single task so intensely that nobody can distract you or nothing can distract you. It's kind of like this. Have you ever had a magnifying glass and you decide you want to try to burn a leaf? What happens when you pull the magnifying glass away from the leaf? Nothing at all, right? But when you pull that magnifying glass closer to that leaf and you just keep it there, and you see that beam of light that's very focused on that leaf in one spot, what happens? It starts to burn through the leaf. Why? Because of the focused concentration. See, when you have focused concentration, you're able to focus on your goals so intensely that passion inside of you burns. It moves you forward. You start developing that discipline. You start developing that consistency, and that will allow you to start to achieving whatever your goal or dream is. And that's exactly what my client had to do. He started focused concentration. He started to focus on working on his GED, one test at a time. He put his phone up in a room where he couldn't get to it. He didn't allow his family members to come in the room and distract him. They knew that at a specific time, he was working on his GED. Now, after 4 years of not being able to pass a single test for his GED, in less than a month, he was able to pass one test. And see, you can do the same thing. If you have something you want to accomplish, you have to realize that Focus concentration is the key to achieving what it is you want to achieve. But if in order for you to develop this focus concentration, you have to start eliminating your distractions. So I want you to think about, what are the main distractions that you have in your life? Is it doom scrolling on your phone? Is it people, ask you to do things you really don't want to do? Is it watching TV all the time? Is it going to play sports or doing some type of avoiding activity so you don't have to work on the goal or dream? Whatever that distraction is, you have to understand that if you want to build discipline and consistency, you have to have focused concentration that's going to allow you to eliminate your distractions. So sit down right now and ask yourself right now at this moment, what task can you do at this moment that is simple, that you can do on a daily basis, that you can discipline yourself, you can be consistent with, and you can focus on at a certain time. And also ask yourself what things can distract you, and make a list of those distractions so you can start being proactive and eliminate those distractions. So just like my client, you can start moving towards the goal or dream you want to accomplish. Now, the fifth principle is create your mental movie. When I was a teenager and I was, dreaming about playing college basketball, going to NBA, I had this neighbor named Mr. Larry. Now, Mr. Larry was like 30, 35 years older than me. But what he would do every Saturday is come play me one-on-one at basketball. Now, you would think to yourself, okay, man, you're a lot younger than Mr. Larry. You should beat him with ease, right? That is not what was happening. Every Saturday he played me one-on-one. I lost. Despite the fact he was 30 years older than me, I kept losing, and I could not understand why. So one day, Mr. Larry said to me, he know me as Junior. He said, Junior, do you know why I keep beating you every Saturday? I say, I have no idea. I should be out here destroying you. He said, when I'm sitting on my porch and I'm about to come down here and play you, what I do is I close my eyes and I visualize myself, pump faking you jumping, and then I'm going around you and I'm shooting a jump shot. It's going to go. I visualize how I'm going to beat you. I visualize how I'm going to dribble the ball. And then I come down here and I execute it the way I visualize. I say, really? He said, yeah, man, I learned this when I was playing college basketball. My college basketball coach told me, he said, Larry, if you want to be good at basketball, you can't just practice all the time. You have to visualize the success you want. You have to visualize that basketball going to go. You have to visualize yourself being successful. He said, Gene, that's what I started doing. And when I start to add visualization to my preparation, it allowed me to be a very good basketball player. He says, so Gene, you have to start visualizing yourself being successful. You have to visualize yourself, dribble the ball, shooting over people, the ball going through the net, because visualization is the key to being successful. Now, that was one of the greatest lessons I ever learned as a teenager, because ever since that day, I started creating my own mental movie on how I want to be successful as a basketball player, how I want to be successful in the classroom. Today, I focus on how I want to be successful as a YouTuber, shooting videos, how I want to be successful as an author. I'm always using visualization. And if you want to be disciplined and consistent when you're going after your goals and dreams, add visualization to your preparation, because when you can see yourself successful in whatever it is that you want to accomplish in this world, what's going to happen is that vision will pull you towards the success. You will find yourself being disciplined. You will find yourself being consistent, because the more you visualize the success you desire, the more excited you will be, the more encouraged you will be, and the more motivated you will be to keep going forward. And when that motivation wears off, you will still have that vision pulling you towards that success, pulling you towards that vision. And when you have that vision pulling you towards the direction of your goal or dream, then you have the discipline and the consistency to make it a reality. These are 5 principles for my book, Word to Be Great: How to Build Self-Discipline to Achieve Your Greatness, that's going to help you to be successful in achieving your goals and dreams in 2026. So if you're sick and tired of having the same New Year's resolution, the same excuses, the same goals and dreams every year and not getting started and not achieving them, I want to encourage you to take the information in this video and start to build the self-discipline and the consistency to achieve your dream. because you are worthy to be great. If you like this video, I want to ask you to like and share this video. Also, hit that bell so anytime I post a new video, you're notified. I also want to ask you to join my Worthy to Be Great newsletter. This newsletter is designed to help you build your self-worth, your self-discipline, your self-confidence so you can achieve your dreams. So click the link below and join my newsletter today.